This is Waltham Abbey. It's a civil parish town in the Epping Forest part of Essex in the Greenbelt legislated area. It is outside of the M25 boundary, between the River Lee and Epping Forest, and is also where the Prime Meridian runs through, the longitudinal line dividing the earth east and west. This town is named after its renowned abbey, which was the last in England to be dissolved, and has now become a place of worship since the 7th century. But despite this town being only 14 miles northeast of Charing Cross, home to quaint churches and town halls, and home to a population of over 22,000 people, it has very poor transport links, particularly in terms of rail access, as there is no station serving Waltham Abbey. Why is that? Most of London's settlements have its own train station 10 or 20 miles from the city centre, but that is not the case for Waltham Abbey. It is so isolated from any railway station that people have to own a car if they live in town. The actual nearest station is Waltham Cross on the West Anglia Main Line, half a mile from Waltham Abbey. Chingford and Cheshunt on the London Overground are also nearby, but you need to drive to those stations, and often the roads are clogged with traffic. The nearest London Underground station is Loughton on the Central Line, but that involves hiking through Epping Forest, which limits its reachability. To further exacerbate the lack of trains, there are no more London buses that head up to Waltham Abbey, but there were some before, which were the 242, 317 and 279. Currently, bus route 215 is the only London bus route that goes in the direction of Waltham Abbey, but doesn't touch it, and only terminates at the Lee Valley campsite in Sewardstone. Luckily, there are local buses which serve Waltham Abbey, which include Arriva 66, Arriva 251, Vector 505, and Vector 13, 13A, 13B, and 13C, all of which don't accept Oyster and only use contactless, and therefore limits the reach of residents to the Oyster network. This is only the tip of the iceberg for no trains to this renowned village, because this is a popular area for UK history, and therefore popular for tourism, but this limits tourists for anyone looking at sacred sites outside central London, if there is inadequate transport to an area like Waltham Abbey. But what if a rail line was built to Waltham Abbey, and how would it change and impact the way Waltham Abbey runs today? I've laid out a proposal that involves an extension of the London Overground's Chingford branch, as that line is in the direction of Waltham Abbey. So let's talk about it. So the new extension to Waltham Abbey begins at the current terminus of one of the London Overground's Weaver Line branches at Chingford. And because of the layout of the road and because of the fact there is a building here, for this extension to happen, the station would have to be rebuilt, either elevated or below ground. And for this proposal, I've chosen the station to be elevated. So that there can be very little construction and it can be finished quickly. But because there's a stabling yard here, that would have to be demolished and it would have to be moved somewhere else. And because the extension would all be built on greenbelt land, it would be very expensive to build another depot as well as the extension. But this is my proposal, so let's take you through it. Excuse me. So the extension starts at Chingford, and after Chingford, as it passes over the road, the line will then sink back down onto ground level and will travel along an embankment, passing through a golf course, but slightly eat up it, but it's fine, I guess. And then it will travel through High Beach, which is this massive bit of Epping Forest, and will then emerge out of the forest to then turn northeast, and will then rise up onto another elevated guideway before arriving at the next and only intermediate station on the extension, Sewardstone. And it would serve the little village of the same name, Sewardstone, and yeah, it would just serve this local town. And it will also provide connection to the 215 bus, which, as I said earlier, is the only London bus that goes in the direction of Waltham Abbey, but doesn't actually touch it. And after Sewardstone, the line will then sink back onto ground level and then it will rise back onto another elevated guideway to pass over this stream here, or river. And then once it passes over the M25, the line will then sink back onto ground level and will then arrive at the terminus at Waltham Abbey. And this is where all of the trains will terminate from Liverpool Street. And there will be a massive bus station and a car park to ferry passengers to the town centre, which will be located about a mile away. And yeah, I'll explain about the advantages and disadvantages right now. This proposal is highly advantageous in that it will provide a direct service into the city via Liverpool Street, or for anyone going via Walthamstow Central. It would be on bright, air-conditioned Class 710 Aventuras, which would enhance everyone's commute. But there are a few disadvantages in that most of the extension would have eyesore bridges, making it expensive. But from what I've learned, it can minimize disruption to the streets below. Next, the location of my Waltham Abbey station is about a mile from the town centre, so we would have to organise new or returning London buses to Waltham Abbey, but this would need to have approval from the local council. Another disadvantage is that all of this extension will be built on greenbelt land, meaning it's very unlikely it will ever happen. But if this video gets popular enough, it could reach out to the council, who may change their mind, but only time will tell. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This video has been on my topic list for weeks, and I'm so glad I finally did it. And if you haven't already, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.